I'm never intimidated. I'm overly masturbated. I'm highly underrated and underappreciated. And even when hated, I'm often imitated but never duplicated. This is Mark Bell from SuperTraining.tv, Super Training Gym, the strongest gym in the West. Answering more questions today for the Power Project, brought to you by HowMuchYouBench.net, BSN, and the only freaking strength magazine in the world, ThePowerMagazine.com. Before I get to this question today, I want to thank everybody who is on iTunes, Listen to Mark Bell's Powercast. Also, you can get it on Stitcher, and you can also, the easiest place to find it is at supertraining.tv. I want to thank everybody for that. We got a lot of downloads. I think we're up to about 60,000 downloads, or maybe it's even closer to 70,000 downloads already out of about 5 episodes thus far. Next episode's with Lane Norton. Then we have Mr. Mike O'Hearn. And then we have Mr. Olympia himself. Phil Heath will be on the show as well. And we have a large cast of some great characters. We're also working on getting Stone Cold Steve Austin on the show as well. So we're trying our best to get the most entertaining people out there. We do realize that many of these people, whether they have reached celebrity status or whatever the case may be, they all have a passion for strength. They all have a passion for fitness. Now let's get down to the question for today. And the question for today is about the bench press. This question is from Lee Nash. And he says, on rep number 2, he can bench fast. But on rep number 1, he's got to lower the weight extremely slow. Now let's talk about this for a second. What's happening here is you are preloaded. So there is basically elastic stored energy inside your body, without getting too technical and too scientific. There's energy stored inside your system once you have lowered that weight. Think about it this way. Your body is not really designed to go 0 to 100 that well without getting hurt, especially in the case of trying to lift heavy weights. So you think about it this way. If you do a breasticle bench press, a nipple blaster, aka a dead stop bench or a dead bench. A dead bench is where you put the weight in the rack. I like to call it nipple blaster. It just rolls off the tongue a little bit better. But a bench press, a dead bench press, is basically where you have the weight in the rack. It's almost about chest level. You're in a power cage. It's almost about chest level, resting on the pins, and then you're trying to press it up from there. Those type of lifts are extremely strenuous to the point where they freaking hurt, to the point where it feels like you're going to tear your pec right off the bone. Very dangerous exercise, but highly effective. Remember, things that are dangerous are great for strength. The higher the danger, a lot of times, the better the better the result in strength training. As crazy, as nutty as that sounds, so when you're doing a lift like a dead bench, you're going from 0 to 100. You're not getting your RPMs up at all before you go and take off. And so it becomes a somewhat dangerous exercise. Moving fast and moving abruptly can be very dangerous as well. I get this question often about the bench press because people see me bench press, and I like to kind of drop my benches in there and press fast. On the other hand, I don't squat that way. So you have to figure out, again, I know you guys hate this answer, but it's always the same here at the Power Project. You got to figure out what works best for you. I do suggest that you try to move as fast as you possibly can, and that's going to be an individual thing based off of how you feel, how healthy you are, and so on. Now, when I'm healthy and I feel really good, I can bench like a mofo. I can bench really fast. I could be really explosive. But when I'm not feeling so great, I move much, much slower. For example, a few weeks ago, I did a 540 bench and smoked it pretty good on a Thursday. Tried to come in on a Sunday just to do some repetition work for the bench press. I mean, really, really, really light stuff. 135 pounds and some bands. Should be extremely light for someone of my strength level on the bench press, and it was hard. And I did a few sets of 10, and it was kind of brutal and even more demanding than I really wanted for the day. So when you're, the only way to really move fast is to A, train yourself that way, and B, to feel healthy. A lot of times, many lifters are coming into workouts with what I like to call a hangover. Now, I know I always talk about how much I hate overtraining and so on, because it usually just means that the individual is underprepared for the work that's about to be done. But a lot of times, people, just because they're on the West Side program, they live in this little tunnel, and they're like, oh, I got to bench twice a week. Do you really have to bench twice a week? To me, benching, benching twice, who benching twice a week is for? People that suck at bench pressing, people that are overly worried at bench pressing. Same goes for the squat, and same goes for the deadlift. These are people that are too worried about where the lift should go. And I know that there's different theories and different things out there, but I just, in my opinion, it's most optimal if people are getting great results out of benching, squatting, deadlifting one time per week. What is more optimal? Is that more optimal? Is it more optimal to do it 2 or 3 times a week? Is it more optimal to be like Stan Efferding and squat 865 but only squat heavy every other week? Or is it more optimal to be like Dan Green and squat 840 or whatever it was that he did, at a lighter body weight, I might add, squatting 3 times a week? I'm not saying one guy's program is right and one guy's program is wrong. Maybe it fits their mindset properly. Maybe it fits the way that they like to work the right way, or maybe it fits their schedule, or whatever the case is. But those are kind of things you got to think about, is frequency. Another thing that people don't talk enough about is tempo, and that's exactly what we're talking about here. We're talking about the speed of the bench press. You mentioned on rep number 2 that you're able to move fast, so you need to work on singles. Screw doing reps. You already know the second rep's going to be better than the first. Same goes for the deadlift, where people like to kind of bounce their second deadlift off the ground. And I kind of have a hypothesis, so to speak, that the range of motion on rep number 2 is quite different than rep number 1. The positioning, the back angle, and so on is much different on rep number 2. You also broke inertia. You also already broke the weight off the floor. You already have momentum going, and so on. Same thing going for the bench press here. You're bringing the weight down. You've already preloaded your body. Your body's already adapted to that weight, and now you're ready to drop that second one down in there quickly. You're no longer scared of it. But now, what your job is to do 10 sets of 1 with about 80% of your max, or 8 sets of 1, somewhere in that range, 70 to 80% of your max. I would start out at 70% and add a little bit of weight every other set or so until you've finished your workout. But what I'd like to see you do with this is going to be a little different than what you're used to. You're going to bench the weight as hard and as fast as you can. You're going to rack the weight. You're going to stay on the bench. You're going to unrack the weight again and go again. And you're going to do that 3 times. So you're going to do 3 sets of 3 right there on the spot. 3 sets of 3 reps. But they're individual reps. And do that about 5 or 6 times in a given workout. And you're going to end up with a lot of single repetitions, broken up. The rest interval in between the rep would just be however long it takes you to rack it, kind of reset, and then go again. But it should be fast. It should be a 5-second rest period, something like that. So you can do anywhere between like 2 to 4 reps on that. I would just suggest about 3 would be good. You start to do any more repetitions than that, and your strength will just start to go downward. If you bench around 405 pounds, I'd say use about 315, somewhere in that range. 70 to 80% range should work well for you. Really concentrate on bringing the weights down fast. Fast is going to be different for each person. Remember that. And more importantly, is press the bar like a motherfucker. You want to try to press that bar as hard and as fast as you can. Get those weights off of you quickly. There is more than one way to bench press. You've seen Stan Efferding bench slow. You've seen myself bench fast. Stan usually presses the weight fast. So that's one place where we can all agree, is that you want to try to bench the weight as fast as possible, no matter which way you decide to lower it. But lowering the weight fast versus slow is a very individual thing. So try to figure out what feels best for you. Tempo training can help with this, so you can have some weeks where you move slow on the way down and some weeks where you move fast. You actually will be surprised that by working on the negative, you're actually creating some very positive results. So if you actually do 5s to 5 with, let's say, a 4 to 5 second eccentric phase to the lift and about a 1 second pause, then blast the weight up fast, you're actually going to teach your body how to control the weight a little bit better, and you're going to train yourself to be able to actually move faster. It's kind of a long story, but because you're working harder, you're doing something that's much harder than just dropping the weight down in there. You're recruiting more muscle fibers, more motor units, and so on and so forth. When you go to move fast, when you go to drop those weights down in there, you'll have the muscle necessary, the connective tissue necessary to handle those weights. A slingshot can also teach you how to move faster. So you want to pick up a slingshot from howmuchyoubench.net. If you don't want a ton of assistance, get the reactive slingshot. If you're looking for more assistance, you can get the original slingshot. But those will teach you how to move fast. It has taught me how to move fast, along with teaching you proper form and keeping you safe. Strength is never a weakness, and that is it from supertraining.tv.